Hello everyone, Alotter here, and today we are looking at these this tier list for Hollow Knight areas. And so, first off, we have the Ancient Basin, and honestly, the visuals aren't that complicated, neither are the enemies here, but the tight areas and the different type of spikes actually have quite a nice aesthetic vibe to it, so A tier for it. Now we have the City of Tea, usually known as the City of Tears. And so, this one right here, the Idiot Tea, is probably an S tier because it has a pretty cool element of kind of the ever-reigning city. When you first get there, you kind of think it's like the final stage, the end of the game, when it's really not, and it's so huge, but it has things to do in all of its areas, so you're not really ever wandering around pointlessly. Next up, the Crystal Peak. And so the Crystal Peak is quite interesting. Cool enemy designs for sure. Definitely a very different aesthetic from the rest of the game, but still a cool aesthetic. The rooms work in cycles, which is really cool as well. The conveyor belts are pretty cool. All of the enemies are cool. The one thing I don't like is the crusher platforming, but everything else is great about Crystal Peak. Easy S tier. A little behind the City of Tears / City of Tea because the City of Tears just is so important to the game as opposed to the Crystal Peak. Deep Nest. Deep Nest has a few problems. First of all, it's not fun if you don't have Lantern. Like a dark mechanic just isn't fun. Probably one of my least favorite mechanics in Hollow Knight. The gimmick, its main gimmick, is the floors falling out, which isn't really that exciting. The enemies are all pretty basic. I will say the reanimation guys that inhabit people and bring the basic enemies back to life. They are actually super cool, great design. But most of it's pretty not great. And the main problem with it though is it's huge. It's bigger than the City of Tears, and it has so little stuff to do. It has one hidden boss, which you have to break like a bunch of hidden walls to find, like one charm, and then one dreamer. But you're only ever really going there for the dreamer and maybe for the master shard for Nosk. So it's way too big for what it has. So I'm gonna put it here in C tier. Dirtmouth. Dirtmouth is a very basic town area. I mean, it's serviceable, but it is pretty basic, so I'm gonna put it in C tier. It is better than Deepness though. Like, it can't really be good because of what it is. It also can't really be bad because of what it is, so maybe that's B tier, actually. So next up we have the Fog Canyon, also known as the OG Canio. And so, I assume lots of people must hate this area, but I actually kind of like it. There's only one real enemy design, so it's very basic, but I do think that's a pretty cool enemy. And I do like the atmosphere of it. I think I'll put it above Dirtmouth. And I do like the one big, like, channel room. Yeah. Forgotten Crossroads, I'm gonna put an A tier, and here's why. I don't think it's a great area, but it has a very specific purpose in mind. And I think it does that purpose well. It's meant as a tutorial area for the game, and it works well as a tutorial area for the game. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for the Forgotten Crossroads. Fungal Waste now. Now, Fungal Waste is the third area you go to, so still before the real game starts, like still before you break off, but it has its only boss is optional, and it's pretty hard. It has a few cool charms, and it has a definitely a good variety in enemy design, and it has its own sub area, and probably the best sub area in the game, unless I'm forgetting about something. It's a S tier for sure. Fungal Waste is the blueprint of what a Hollow Knight area should be. It has a cool sub area. It's cool story-wise. You don't even need to be smart about the story. Like, I would never clued in about the story. I just learned from YouTube. But like before then, when I didn't know the story, the mantises were pretty cool because when you hit them, it wasn't yellow goop that came out. It was like some of the enemies before, it was like white soul, and it's pretty cool once you beat the mantis lords how all the mantises respect you. The purple things are cool platforming. There's platforming to get to City of Tears pretty easy, which I think is pretty good. It has a little challenge to get the shard once you get Mantis Claw. It has like some things like built-in tutorials for Mantis Claw. Fungal Waste just have it all. However, Green Path I think is a little more average. It has so many inaccessible parts as opposed to Fungal Waste, like that you're just never ever going to want to go to. And the path to Howling Cliffs honestly is more of a problem than anything else, because you can get lost there and then don't really know what to go. Hornet 2 is, or Hornet 1 rather, sorry, is the first real boss of the game, but it's not that good of a boss. And also the map is way too hard to find. So the map in Forgotten Crossroads, really easy to find. Fungal Waste, pretty easy to find too. Like, both easy to find maps, and Green Path should be the same for these first three areas, but it's not. It's actually pretty easy to miss the map and then go through the whole thing without a map. I don't like that. I think you should be given the map, basically, for this area, or more so, like, given the map in the same way as the Forgotten Crossroads. And I really don't like that, so I think it will go here. Howling Cliffs. Howling Cliffs is pretty empty. I will say, though, perfect place to have the stag nest. Also, I like the flavor of the one guy being on top of the world up there. But honestly, not too much of an important area. One thing, though, is unlike Deep Nest, you never need to go to the Howling Cliffs. So it's big and doesn't have much in it, but if you don't need to go there, that's less of a problem. Whereas Deep Nest, if you're trying to finish the game, then you can just be lost there with no problem, whereas Howling Cliffs you can choose to explore, which makes it a lot better. So I think we'll go A tier here. Kingdom's Edge. Not too many enemies. You can get lost pretty easily, although I like the big long channels, like upward vertical rooms that's not really like anywhere else. That's super cool. And also the sub area of the Colosseum is pretty good. But I think the main problem with it is the primal aspids, because they're quite annoying as enemies, and if they're, I think it would have done better to have like some kind of enemy like the squits, I believe it is, the ones in Green Path, the little flies that charge at you, just because the primal aspids are so annoying when they knock you down, because it takes quite a while to like get back up. So that's why I think the squids would have been better, because then they would have also followed you down, so you can deal with them on a lower platform where you have less far to fall, so you need to go up less. Whereas the primal aspids don't really chase, so they can just kind of wait for you to knock you down again, which can be kind of frustrating. But overall, good area. I think I might move this Howling Cliffs down a little. Kingdom's Edge can go there then. Queen's Gardens, pretty cool area, um, with all the mantis people in it. I also think the flying mantis actually are really cool this time around, unlike in Fungal Waste. Uh, and it's definitely a cool area. I like the platforming for that one grub where you have to C-dash. Um, then Trader Lord, of course, a pretty cool boss. And the great thing about Trader Lord is it's the perfect tutorial boss for teaching you how to use your Shade Cloak. Cool with having the, like, White Queen or whatever her dumbass name is, there. And, yeah, very solid area. Bottom of S tier. Resting Grounds. Honestly, I'm gonna put it right where Dirtmouth is, because it can't really be good, can't really be bad, because nothing really happens there. It's just an area that's kind of needed in the game to, like, have a NPC or NPCs there. Same thing as Dirtmouth. Honestly, they could go in either order. Basically, kind of like the rice of the game. It needs to be there, but it doesn't really have any taste to it. No one's particularly excited to have it, but no one's disappointed with it. Waterway. So, waterways are pretty interesting. Um, Here's the thing about waterways, is I feel like a large half of it is pointless and just doesn't lead anywhere. It's kind of a dead end. But I think there are some things I like about it. I like the kind of very rectangular, I guess, design of it. Like to kind of resemble pipes. I don't love the enemy design, which is definitely some points off it. I do kind of like the sub area, like the toxic sub area, where you get Ishma's tier. I think that's cool. It definitely gets points for that, but I think my favorite thing about it is easily the sound design. I really like the echo, which I feel like they don't have that effect really in Fog Canyon at the same, like they have it a little different here, and I like it. I think this will go right there. Finally, the Hive. Now the Hive's a very interesting one for me, because I think the Hive is exemplary in a lot of things. Good enemy design, good flavor, surprisingly good boss as well, like good feel to it. Here's the problem though, you don't really need to do anything there. I do like how you drag the bees to get them to open up areas by crashing into walls. That's cool. But like you fight one boss there and then you're done. And like you don't even need to fight the boss. It doesn't give you anything. You could just get your like one mass shard and then leave. And honestly, there's nothing I really dislike about it, but I have to take away quite a lot of points for just it being kind of an unnecessary area in the game. Like, even though it does everything right, it's also just unnecessary, so I think I'm going to put it at the top of A tier there. So, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I am out. See ya.